how do you test your SAP integration? It is one thing to test the normal flows, that you're receiving a normal message, processing, and you can see that it is producing the expected result. But a lot of times you'd have a lot of different logic in your flows that makes it a little more complicated to manage some of these scenarios. Here I have an example, and let me just show you this message mapping here. So here we have the message mapping. It is a tax calculation flow, and what we have here is that we'll calculate the price if the product ID is greater than 100. Otherwise, we will not get the sum multiplied and then format as a number. So this is all good. And now we want to test this. And I have here a process. I will switch the iflow to trace mode. And I can then send a message through it here using Bruno. And we can see we are getting a response back. So we are sending in a product here that has 400, price of 100, and a product name of 80 that is 2 or 20, so that will not count. And then we have one here that is 30, line number 30. This should also count. This is minus 10. And that would say we have minus, yeah. And we can see we are getting a result here that is 2.5, and that is 25% of 10. Good. We want to create a test case for this. In the Figaf tool, we will take this and use this as a baseline for the test cases. It says here we have not synchronized it yet. So for Figaf to be able to work efficiently with a tool, it needs to have this artifact here. It takes a little while for it to fetch all the payloads for it. Now it's done. We can click OK. Now we're creating a test case. Testing tags. And we'll create one here. The message here will be initial. Spelled, that's probably okay. And we will then fetch the payload for this one. And now we will create a test case for this. So now we have a message in the Figaf tool that we can then use to create test cases. So we want to say where we want to create this, and this is good. So now we are creating a test case for this based on this payload, and that means that if something changes, we can always process this. And we can then select run here. And now we can see here that the message has been sent another time. If we click at the here, we can see header properties. We can see that this is called IoT, which is what we call messages sent by Figaf. So that means we can go here, we can see the result here, view results, and we can see everything looks okay. And we can see there's a difference between the version that's deployed and the version that is actually live. So that is obviously something that could cause some problems. Okay, so now we have just deployed the new version, and that actually means we probably should be retesting this and just see if that produces a different result. Now it is, everything is good. Okay. We want to test, okay, so what does it mean that if a product is 100, is that counted or not? And one of the ways we can do this is we can select this payload here, everything here, and we can then go and we can select extract selected sources, add it to the existing test suite here. So now we're just creating a test case or simply projection of this. We can go in and we can say this payload here, this is then test with ED 100. We'll also use that as the method expression. I will press save. Now we can go in and we can edit the payload. This is the initial payload that is being sent here. So let's just try to simplify it. We will go into edit here. We will say that we have a price of 100 and the product ID is 100. So let's see what this would be producing. we can go here to testing results. We can then see what this product is producing. And now we can see everything is in error, which is expected. So we are getting these payloads, and this is obviously okay because that's what we expected. We want to compare the final result, which is this one. And here we can see that it now counts the order as 0. So that is all good. So what we need to do now is just to say, okay, now this is our expected payload. And then every time we run this, then we will get this result. And let's go back to the original message we had here. So here we still had the original test result here. Oh. View test case, we'll just take a new one. Just because this is the better one, we'll add it to the same one. And it is now projection. This would then be like minus numbers. We can save it. And now we can go here, we can go up and say, okay, edit these things. So what if the price is 0 or minus 10, minus 20? So these two would be counted as 30, 25% of 30, I guess that is, let's just make it 40. And then if we want to make something a little more interesting, we can add some more decimals to these things, which would make things a little more complicated, and we could see some challenges with something like this, and if they have entered wrong numbers for this. So we can just copy here, run, and now our idea is again to run this test case here, where we are using these minus numbers, and we will always look at the last step because that is where we can easily see the differences here. So we can see that it calculates 20 plus 30, 25% of that is 12 plus a bit. So that's all good. We can go and we can say, hey, this is update test case. Then now we have created 3 test cases for this test case, for this scenario. So we have one that tests minus, one that tests plus, or if ID is 100, and one that tests the default one. We should probably create one that is 99 and 101. So what happens if we go in and say, hey, we did a mistake there. We are in edit mode. We changed the VAT to, got some discounts, 19. Save as version. So now we have 205. We just need to inform Figaf that there's a new version. So that means we will synchronize this and ensure that we have all of this in place. Now, if we go back to the tool here, and we can see the test cases we have these 3 test cases, 4 test cases, and they are all in one test suite here. That's on now texts. And if we now run, it will take all of these messages, run them, and then we will probably see that all of these results will fail because yeah, we have changed the tax rate, so that would all have an impact. So if we look here at the testing result, we can see it was not deployed. Let me just deploy it and run again. So now let's see, view results. We can now see everything here is compared successfully. And view results. Here we're getting an error. Why do we get that? So this was a price that the tax was different on this specific value, which is, I guess, according to our expectation. So we will just need to update this test case. update the test case to this. And then the two other ones, the minus, so I guess it was just not showing the result here. We also getting a different tax rate. All in all, this is what we're expecting. So it is really easy to create these test cases and ensure that they are valid. And whenever something changes, you can easily go in and you can update them. The results here, let's also just update this one. And then whenever you have something that you want to run, you can just go on an object here. So we can select the integration object here. That is then the latest here, the tax suite. And we can say here, what are the different test cases we have. We can say we want to run all of these on a given system where these exist, and then we'll take these messages and run them and make sure that we always can check these messages, and then we can see the result here. Everything looks as it is expected. So this is just one of the things that makes the process a lot easier. If we, for instance, want to transport this to a QA system, we just create a new ticket here, tax fix, lower tax. We would select our landscape here. We will select enter our DIR number, and then we'll create a ticket for it. And what we can actually do now is, once we have created this ticket with the object, we can look up all the attached object, and here we can see we got these 4 test cases that we have created. We can run them all the time, and then ensuring that the result of this is okay. That means that if in a few minutes we can run this, we can start the transport. In the transport, we can then see the status of the testing. We can configure externalized properties if they are defined here, and this just makes the whole process of deploying, managing this, and ensuring you have created test cases, they're valid, that you cover all of the different scenarios. I hope that this simplifies some of the ideas that you have about how do you create test cases, how do you manage them, and how do you create some more complex test cases about what you have been doing. I hope you liked it. Please like, please share this video. Thanks.